In this tutorial, we'll learn how to automate and orchestrate workflows in Oracle AI Data Platform Workbench. Oracle AI Data Platform Workbench offers a powerful way to automate and orchestrate data workflows. I can connect data sources, run analytics, and apply machine learning in a sequence automatically. In this scenario, I'll begin in a workspace. I have a few notebooks and folders I want to schedule and automate processes to keep tasks consistent, reduce manual work, and minimize errors. I want to add logic to determine which notebooks execute based on specific conditions. To do this, I'll choose the Workflow section from my workspace. Workflows are synonymous with jobs. Each workflow acts as a visual pipeline that defines the sequence for data import, processing, and analysis. I see jobs that have already been created and are accessible to me, as well as basic information like their recent runs and whether they succeeded or failed. Now I'll create a new job. I can either select the plus icon or create job. A dialog will open allowing me to customize the job. I'll name it and add a description if needed. The default location for jobs to be saved is set to the Jobs folder, but I can change this if necessary. Finally, I can decide how many runs can take place at the same time. I'll leave this set to 1 and select Create. Once saved, I'll see a task automatically populated. I need to add tasks that make up the workflow. Workflows can consist of one or many tasks. To configure the first task, I'll populate information in the Task Details section. I'll name it and choose the type. There are a few different types of tasks that I can create. Notebook tasks run notebooks I create. Python tasks run a .py file that exists in the AI Data Platform Workbench workspace. In this example, I want to create a notebook task first. After I select the type, I'll browse for the notebook location and select the one I need. I'll select my cluster and then determine when my task run should time out. I can pause the run if it is not successful after a certain time period and choose the number of retries for the run if it times out or is unsuccessful. I want to add a second task, so I'll choose Add Task and fill in the task details. Task 2 was created as an arrow off of Task 1. This means Task 2 will only run if Task 1's dependencies are successful. I can change the dependency conditions in task details based on the needs of my project. If I want the tasks independent of each other, I'll remove the dependency in task details. I'll change the task type to nested job task, which takes an existing job and places it into the job I'm creating. Now I'll add a third task. By default, this task is dependent on task 2. I'll rename it to task 3 and change the type to an if-else condition. An if-else condition task uses parameters to determine which tasks to run. I'll need to define my conditions. I can use system parameters or custom parameters to set these conditions. For a complete list of available system parameters, refer to the Oracle documentation on workflow configurations. I'll paste a system parameter into the first condition, then choose an equal sign followed by true. This parameter will indicate true if a job starts on a weekday or false if it begins over the weekend. I can add more conditions if needed. For example, I could set a condition for job start time to be weekday at a certain time of day, excluding specific days of the month, or I can create and customize a condition expression to fit my business needs. Now I want to make some branching tasks off of task 3 that run based on whether task 3 evaluates to true or not. I'll add a task, name it task 4, and make it a notebook task. Because task 3 has parameters, my depends on options change, giving me task 3 true or false to choose from. I want this to run if task 3 is true. I'll add another task calling it task 5. When this one evaluates to false, I want to run some code to train a machine learning model instead. So I'll add the notebook and cluster I need and update the depends on to task 3 false. I can confirm this setup by zooming into my tasks and seeing my branches. Now that I have my tasks set up, I'll choose Run Now. I can monitor the run by selecting Runs, or I can view the run while it is processing. I can see that task 1 has already succeeded and has moved on to the next task. I can also confirm here that task 4 ran because task 3 was true, but task 5 did not run because of the parameters I set in place. I can also see in-depth information by looking at what is displayed in task details. When the job has finished running, I'll open the Timeline tab, which shows me when each task began and finished. I can also see more information about this job, like who ran it, when did it start and end, and I can access logs and details related to the cluster by looking at the Details tab. I've looked at the individual runs, but now I want to see the details for the job overall, so I'll leave the Runs tab and open the Details tab. I can see a lot of information I've already set, like job and location, but I can also schedule the run from this location. I'll select Add and fill in the dialog that opens to include frequency and select Create. If I want to update or change the permissions for this job, I'll select the Permissions tab where I can update who has access based on users or roles. Finally, I want to establish some job parameters. I'll navigate back to the Details tab. I can add parameters at either the job level or the task level, depending on what I want the conditions to affect. For local conditions, I will use task parameters, but if I want conditions that impact many or all the tasks related to a job, I will pick job parameters. I'll define the parameter with data for the key and game instance ID as the value. I'll update the number to 75. The notebooks I ran in my workflow reference this key data and this game instance ID as an output. I'll select Run Now from this page to begin another run of the job. I can return to the Runs tab to oversee this run happening. If I view the run, I can track the run details again, but this time I want to see the parameter details. I can see that the gamer instance ID of 75 was used in the task. By the output, I can see it did grab the value of 75, and I can see the code that was used to grab that data. Now that I have designed and scheduled an automated workflow with dependencies, branching logic, and parameters in AI Data Platform Workbench, I can ensure data tasks and machine learning processes run efficiently and consistently, which frees my team to focus on higher value analysis and project goals. Find more videos in this series and additional resources on using Oracle AI Data Platform Workbench in the links below.